on the poses. All right, so let's all go over to our mats. Have a nice mellow flow today. Today we'll start in a seat. You can choose to come into easy pose, which is how I'm sitting here, both feet, both knees on the ground, or you can also tuck your feet underneath your knees. Another option is to kind of elevate your hips a little bit. If you have a yoga block or a pillow, you can just stick that right underneath your hips if you like, and just find a little bit more of a comfortable seat there. And then settle in, maybe rocking side to side, back and forth. You can roll your shoulders a little bit. Get all your last wiggles out. Finding a comfortable place to rest your hands. They could be on your lap, palms facing up or down. You can also bring your hands to your knees. Palms can face up or down there as well. And today I'll show you a little, it's called a mudra. Mudra means hand positioning. Um, I find that hand positionings sometimes just help me to really focus in on what's happening. It kind of brings your awareness to your hands, to your fingers, and keeps your focus here in the present in your body. So one of those mudras that I like is to just bring the thumb and the middle finger together, or even the thumb and the index finger. You could rest your hands on your lap there if you want to have a little extra awareness here in your hands. And if not, one of those other positions is also okay. If sitting cross-legged is not comfortable for you today, feel free to open up your legs, have them extended out, anything that feels good. And then you can rest your eyes. If you don't feel like closing your eyes all the way, just relaxing the gaze, kind of bringing your gaze down towards the ground in front of you might help to allow you to focus a little bit more inward. And start to listen to your breath. The word yoga means unity, to unify. And I was taught that that refers to the unity of your mind, body, and breath. So beginning by checking in with your breath allows you to bring all your focus, all of your attention there. The breath is one thing that we always have control over in our lives. You can always check in with your breath and start to slow it down. Now first, just notice how your breath is feeling today in this moment. Especially if you're under the weather, your breath might seem a little different than it usually does. And we have no judgment here. We're just looking with open curiosity, noticing any of the qualities of the breath that are standing out to you here. Noticing maybe the texture of the breath. Perhaps you're noticing the temperature of your breath on the inside of your nose and throat. And see if you can follow your breath all the way down deep into your belly. Along the way, noticing any different areas of your body that are moving with your breath. And perhaps you feel your chest rising and falling with each inhale and each exhale. Maybe you feel your breath moving your shoulders, your back, or your ribs. Maybe you can feel your breath deep in your belly. And then now just holding on to all those breath sensations. Start to stretch the breath out. Not in a forced way, just a gentle lengthening and deepening so that each inhale and each exhale comes to be ever so slightly longer than the previous one. Just paying attention to where your body is right now in this moment. See how long you can stretch your breath out to while still making sure that you're feeling those nice deep breaths, nothing forced. Noticing those subtle changes with each inhale and each exhale. Keeping with that nice full deep breath, start to let your awareness take a little stroll throughout your body. If you like, you can start at the top of the head or anywhere else that makes sense, and then just slowly moving your energy eyes, so to speak, throughout the rest of your body, into the shoulders and the arms, all the way to the tips of the fingers, moving through your torso, checking in with your spine, down into the hips, and then moving through the legs, upper legs, the knees, lower legs, ankles, toes, even the sole of your foot. Now, as you move your awareness one body part at a time throughout your whole body, take some time to make any mental notes here. Anything that feels off today or sore. Anything that's unique to your body that may affect how you come into a pose today. Noticing any areas where maybe you feel you want to get an extra stretch. Maybe you want to put some twists in, get your spine moving. Or maybe you have an injury in a knee or an ankle. Every body is unique. We each have our own genetic makeup and our own unique history. And those factors are really going to determine more than anything else what your yoga practice should look like today. So remember that you can always change a pose or even skip it if it doesn't feel right for you, or even stay in it longer if that's what your body is asking for today. Just making this practice your own. Once you've gone through your whole body, made all of those mental notes, bring your attention back to your breath. Just taking a couple more big, full, deep breaths here. Just being here and now inside of your body. And let's blink our eyes open. We'll start with some neck exercises, keeping your hands either on your knees or resting somewhere comfortably on your lap. We can just start by gently rocking our head side to side, really slowly starting to get the blood flowing through the neck. Noticing how the muscles in the neck are feeling today. And when you're ready, if you like, you can turn that into a U-shaped movement, dropping the chin down towards the chest and coming up to the other shoulder. You can even tie this movement to your breath if that feels good. Exhale when you drop the chin down. Inhale, coming back up. Exhale, dropping the chin. Inhale, lifting the head up towards the other side. You can also try this movement along the back, using that same breathing. Inhale as you drop the chin down. Exhale, coming up. And when you're ready, you can turn that into a big circle coming all the way around. If you like, you can go in one direction for a while and then switch. Or you can also switch back and forth, doing one circle going one way and then finding a circle in the opposite direction. Once your neck feels nice and warmed up, make your way back up to a neutral spine. And we'll do a little bit of an extra neck exercise here. Placing one hand down on the ground beside you, take your other hand and just gently wrap that hand over your head, maybe holding onto your ear here. Take a big breath in. And as you breathe out, leaning your head down towards that shoulder, you can give a little extra pull with your hand, not too much. Remembering that the neck is really super sensitive, so you don't want to go too far here. And really switching sides, other hand comes down. Big breath in to lift the other arm up. Exhale, dropping it over, holding onto your ear, and then very gently letting your hand help pull your head down and give you a little extra stretch here. And release. And let's fold forward, resting the fingertips down on the ground in front of you. Take a big breath in and sit up really tall. As you breathe out, start to crawl the fingers forward, keeping the spine nice and long here. And then once you find your edge, however far down you feel comfortable going, you can relax into the fold, letting your back round out, letting the head and neck relax down towards the ground. Maybe letting your elbows come to rest on the ground. You can also keep those arms extended and get a stretch in the arms if that's what feels good today. On your next breath in, walking the hands back, lifting up the chest, making our way into a twist here. We're going to bring one hand behind us, just resting those fingers on the ground behind you. The other hand, you can rest it right on the ground in front of you, or you can cross that hand over the opposite knee for a little bit more of a deep stretch here. Take a big breath in to sit up as tall as you can. And as you breathe out, see if you can go a little deeper into your twist, bending the elbows, and maybe even peeking over the back shoulder. One more time, inhale to sit up nice and tall, keeping the hands where they are. Exhale, bending the elbows. See if you can peek over your back shoulder, coming deep into the twist. Release your hands, coming back to center. And try the other side. other hand comes behind. This hand, same options here. We can rest it just on the ground in front of you, or coming a little deeper, crossing the hand over the opposite knee. Big breath in to sit up tall. On the exhale, twisting deeply, bending the elbows, peeking over the back shoulder. Once again, keep the hands where they are. Lengthen the spine. Take a big breath in. And as you breathe out, twisting deeper, bending the elbows and peeking over the back shoulder. Release, coming back to center. Give yourself a little wiggle. Make your way back to a comfortable seat. And let's give our feet a little bit of love. Lifting up whichever foot is in the front here. You can rest that leg in the crook of your arm, right in your elbow, and the heel can rest in the palm of your hand. And then here you can just hold onto your toes, or if it feels good, you can interlace your fingers in between the toes, giving your toes a little extra stimulation here, and then do some circles. Getting into the ankle, moving the toes around, getting the blood flowing through the foot. And let's find circles going the other way. And release. If you want, you can give your foot a couple squeezes here, wiggle those toes all around, and then set that foot down and switch sides. Other leg comes up. Resting that leg in the crook of your elbow there. The heel comes in the palm of your hand. Same options here. You can just hold onto the toes with that hand, or maybe you want to put some space between the toes. Stick your fingers in between your toes and do some circles with the foot here. Getting blood flowing through the foot, waking up the foot, wiggling the toes around. And finding circles in the opposite direction. And then release. Maybe give your foot a little massage. Squeeze everything out there. And then set that foot back down, this time so that your legs are crossed the awkward way, bringing the second foot here down in front. And let's fold forward over our feet once again, resting the fingers on the mat in front of you. Take a deep breath in to sit up really tall. As you breathe out, crawling the fingertips forward, keeping the spine long, only going down as far as you feel comfortable. And once you find that edge, you don't want to go any further. Round out the back, letting the head and neck relax down. You can keep your arms stretched out and extended, or you can release your arms, letting your arms relax down onto the ground. On your next breath in, walking the hands back, pushing yourself back up to a seat. And let's do a little bit of seated cat-cow spinal warm-up here. I'd like to have my hands cupped outside of the knees for this one. And then we're going to go in and out with our breath, tying the movement to the breath. On the inhale, we roll our shoulders down, arch the back, lean the head back, and peek up to the sky. And as you breathe out, one vertebrae at a time, pushing the spine out behind you and relaxing your head and neck down. Keep moving just like that, going at your own pace with your breath. Inhale, rolling the shoulders down, arching the back, leaning the head back. Exhale, pushing the spine out behind you and relaxing your head and neck down. Notice how your breath is really helped by the movement. On the inhale, opening up the chest, making room for the lungs to expand. And as you breathe out, taking advantage of all that extra space that you're making by pushing the air out of your lungs. Just going at your own pace. Really listening to your breath here. One of the most beautiful things about yoga is that it helps us recognize what pace our body wants to go at. And really, it's different for every single person. So don't worry about how fast or slow anybody else is going. Just let your breath dictate your own speed. And see if you can feel the individual vertebrae here. You might not be able to feel all of them. Maybe just one or two, or maybe you're not feeling them today at all. When your spine feels nice and warm, make your way back up to a neutral spine. And let's find our way into a side stretch. Planting one hand on the ground beside us. Inhale, other arm comes up. And as we breathe out, leaning down towards that hand on the ground, let the upper arm come arcing overhead like a rainbow. You can bend this elbow of the hand on the ground, and you can also crawl the fingers out to the side. If that feels nice, you can find some movement here, moving in and out of the pose by bending and straightening the elbow and just exploring your range of motion. And let's try the other side, breathing in to come up. As you breathe out, release that hand down to the side. Other arm comes up. Big breath in. Exhale, leaning down towards your other hand, upper arm arcing overhead like a rainbow. Maybe walking those fingers out. And then finding some movement if it feels good. Bending and straightening the elbow. Release. Coming back to center. And let's make our way into hands and knees tabletop. You can plant your hands and roll over the knees, or you could just swing your legs around to one side. And take a moment to set up here. Set up for success. Make sure your whole upper body is supported really well. Lining up the shoulders right over the wrists, putting some space between the fingers, and then having a little micro bend in the knuckles, your knuckles, so that you're really gripping the mat with your hands. And then peek down and bring your knees together to touch right underneath the hips. We're going to be lifting up one leg and the opposite arm. And if you feel kind of wobbly with your hand up, you can just focus on the leg for today. So take a big breath in. One leg comes up, pushing through the sole of the foot. Imagine you're stamping it into a wall behind you. And then see if you feel like including the arm today, stretching the arm out long. If that's too wobbly, focus on the leg. Take a big breath in here, stretching out as long as you can. And on the exhale, release. Hand and knee come back nice and careful, back to their spots on the mat. Switching sides. Other leg comes up, pushing through the sole of the foot like you're stamping it into a wall behind you. Maybe your arm comes up as well. Maybe today you want to leave that hand on the ground. You can always take a different option than you took on the other side. That's okay. Big breath in here, stretching it out. Exhale, release. Hand and knee back to the mat. And let's try to move with our breath at your own pace. Just take your time. Big breath in to lift and stretch. On the exhale, coming back down. Switching sides. Inhale, lift and stretch. Exhale, nice and slow with control back to the mat. Keep going, finding your own rhythm. Remember, you can do your hand and your leg or just your leg. One more time on either side. Make sure you've done both sides evenly. And then come back to hands and knees tabletop, and let's come into child's pose, putting some space between the knees. Bring the big toes together to touch. I like to make sure my toes are just touching and not overlapping, so neither of them is going to lose circulation. And then we'll push the hips back towards the heels. Relax the forehead down towards the ground, and let the elbows come down to the mat. Child's pose is a resting position. If you don't find this comfortable, you can always rest in a seat. Taking a moment to reconnect with your breath. Noticing any new breath sensations here. We spent some time at the beginning of our flow really connecting with our breath. So there might be some different sensations you're noticing here now than you felt at the very beginning of our flow. Sometimes these sensations don't even really have words associated with them. They're just feelings that are coming from deep inside your body. And sitting in a new pose here in child's pose might make the breath feel just a little different. Maybe your breath is more accentuated in your back, feeling the back rising and falling with each breath. Or maybe you feel it more in your ribs. And on our next inhale, coming back up to hands and knees tabletop. Let's do a little toe stretch, tucking the toes under. We're just going to push the hips back towards the heels. So if this is already enough pressure on the toes, you can stay right here. And if you want a little bit more of a stretch in the toes, you can come all the way up to a seat. If your toes are like mine, your pinky toes might be bent the other way. My pinky toes always want to go the other way, so I always have to reach back and help them come forward. Just feeling that stretch on the arch and on your toes. You can find some movement here. And then release, planting the hands flat on the mat. Untuck the toes, tap the tops of the feet on the ground, shake it all out. And let's make our way all the way up to standing, however you want to get there. So I don't have any walls within sight right here, but if you're feeling wobbly, especially if you're not feeling at your best, if you're recovering from an illness like I am, you might want to give yourself a little extra security and hold onto a wall. So you might want to go over to a wall and just put your hand right against the wall for these balancing poses here, because that just gives you a little extra security. And we're going to do 3 balancing poses today. I'll teach them to you one at a time, and then we're going to put them all together and see how that goes. We'll start with tree pose here. All weights coming to one leg, and with the other leg, we're going to turn that leg so the knee's pointing straight out towards the side, keeping that knee bent. We have 3 choices here. You can keep your toes on the ground and just set the sole of the foot right against the ankle. You can lift it up and bring your heel underneath your knee. I like to set my heel in that little curve right there, right underneath the knee. That always feels real comfortable to me. Or the last position is all the way up on the thigh, above the knee. So any of those positions, there's no right or wrong here. It's just whatever feels right inside of your body. And then once your legs are pretty steady, if you like, you can include your arms. There's lots of options here for the arms. You can keep them up like tree branches. If it feels good, you can bring your hands all the way together, up overhead, either palms together or maybe just your fingers touching. And if your arms aren't feeling like being included today, you can keep your palms together at heart center or even just rest your hands on your hips. Focusing on your breath. And then bring all of your awareness to your standing foot. Notice how your foot is making these tiny little adjustments. It knows just what to do to hold you steady. I'm taking one last big breath in here. And an exhale. Release. Give it a wiggle. Shake it all out. And let's try the other side. I'll wait. Coming to the other leg. This knee turning to point straight out towards the side. Now remember that our bodies are not symmetrical, even though they kind of look like it. So you can always take a different foot placement option on this side. Toes on the ground, sole of the foot on the ankle. Heel underneath the knee in that little curve. Or all the way up on the thigh, above the knee. Wherever it feels good to you. Once your feet are steady, finding an option for the arms, just like the legs. You could take a different option on this side if that's what's speaking to you. Arms out wide, like tree branches, fingertips coming together. Imagine that your whole body is like the tree trunk. Or maybe hands just come down to heart center or rest on your hips for today. Focusing on your breath. Bringing awareness to the standing foot. And just noticing how that foot is taking care of your whole body here, holding everything else up. Nice strong feet. Take one last big breath in here. And as you breathe out, release, shake it out, give it a wiggle. Let's make our way into a forward fold. You can either have your big toes together to touch with some space between the heels, or you can choose to bring the feet on two different train tracks. Big breath in, sweeping the hands up. Exhale, folding forward, bend your knees a little bit, relax your upper body down. You can rest your hands on the ground, or you can just let your arms dangle down here. And let's come back up on a breath in. Bend your knees, let your arms dangle down, and slowly unroll your spine. See if you can feel your individual vertebrae unrolling one at a time. Exhale, coming into mountain pose, our basic standing pose in yoga. Let's try our second balancing pose here. This one is a variation on chair pose. We're going to bring all weight to one leg. Big breath in, lift your knee up and your arms up overhead. And as you breathe out, bring your hands down to heart center and then cross this elevated leg, crossing the ankle over the knee. Bend that standing leg just a little bit and start to sit low in your chair. It might feel good to flex these toes on the upper leg here. Sometimes that can help protect that knee. And sort of leaning the torso forward helps a little bit here with the balance. So if you like, if you're pretty flexible, you can even drop your elbows all the way down to that upper leg. And let's see if we can rise back up on a breath and lifting the knee up, arms overhead. Exhale, shake it out. And let's try the other side. All weight coming to the other leg. On a breath in, this knee comes up, arms overhead. Exhale, hands come down to heart center, crossing the ankle over the knee. Sitting low in your chair, only going down as far as you feel comfortable. If it feels good, you can start to drop those elbows on the leg, flexing these toes to help protect the knee. Holding onto your breath. And on an inhale, coming back up, lift the knee high, arms overhead. Exhale, release, shake it all out. Whew. That one definitely got my heart rate up a little bit, especially as I'm still recovering. Another resting pose here. We're going to bring our feet about hip width distance apart. And if you like, you can bring one hand to your heart and one hand to your belly. Close your eyes. So you don't need to stand perfectly still here. If it feels good, you can even rock very gently back and forth on your toes. And then bring awareness to your hands. See what sort of breath sensations you're noticing underneath your fingertips here, through the whole upper chest area, right underneath your collarbones, through the belly, Really connecting to your breath. And feel your breath moving through your whole body. And now see if you can bring your awareness to the inside of your torso and feel your fingers from your skin. Feel the fingers resting on your skin or on your shirt, resting on your belly. We're just raising our sense of self-awareness here, just gathering information about what is happening inside of our bodies. Releasing the hands down, blink your eyes open. Last balancing pose. This one is called Warrior 3. And for this one, we're going to balance on one leg and bring everything else as close as we can come to being parallel to the ground. Now, don't worry if you can't come all the way parallel to the ground or even get anywhere near what looks like parallel to the ground. Remember that it's all about the journey, not the destination. So, however deep into this pose you want to come is good enough for today. For this one, we're going to come in just like the last one, bringing all weight to one leg, and on a breath in, lifting the knee up and the arms overhead. As we breathe out, hinging forward from the hips, bend your standing leg, sweep your arms back wide like airplane wings, and push that upper foot out behind you like you're stamping it into a wall. Remember, we're moving towards everything but the standing leg being parallel to the ground, but it's okay if it's not all the way there. However close you can come today, that's where you are. Let's see if we can come back up on a breath in, lifting the knee up and the arms overhead. And then release, shake it all out. And try the other side. All weight coming to the other leg. Big breath in, knee comes up, arms overhead. Exhale, bend the standing knee, hinge forward from the hips, sweep the arms back wide like airplane wings, and send that foot straight out behind you like you're stamping it into a wall. Remember that your sides are not symmetrical, so this side might seem a lot more difficult or a lot easier than the other side, or maybe it feels the same. On an inhale, rising back up, lifting the knee up and the arms high. Exhale, shake it all out. Whew. And let's take a little seated break after this one. Making your way to any comfortable seat, or even you can take a child's pose here. Another chance to bring one hand to the heart and one hand to the belly. You can try switching hands. If you don't remember which hand was where last time, that's okay too. Close your eyes. Notice if your breath has sped up a little bit. I know mine has. Especially still recovering from a cold. I just have a little bit less strength today, so my heart rate has gone up. My breath is feeling a little bit more labored here. And see if you're feeling different sensations inside of your body now, associated with the breath, the shoulders, the back, the belly moving in and out. And doing these breath check-ins throughout our yoga flow just allows us to have so much more information, knowledge about how our body is feeling as we breathe and move. We're just getting used to sensing these feelings. And then feel how your breath is slowly coming back down. Slowing the breath down. And let's release our hands down to the lap, anywhere they feel comfortable resting. Blink the eyes open. And we'll make our way back up to standing and see if we can put our 3 balancing poses together. So this time we're going to try to do all three of those while keeping the foot elevated. If it's not working out for you and your foot wants to drop down to the ground, that's totally okay. We're just giving ourselves a little extra challenge here. We'll start with tree pose, all weight coming to one leg. This knee pointing straight out to the side. Same options as we had before. Toes on the ground, sole of the foot on the ankle, heel under the knee, or all the way up on the thigh. And once your legs are comfortable, finding anywhere you'd like to keep your hands. We're not going to stay in anything too long because we're going to go through all three poses. So take one more big breath in here. And as you breathe out, bring hands to heart center, release the ankle, cross it over the knee, start to bend that knee and sit low in your chair. Stay here, just one big breath in and out. And on your next inhale, rising back up. Exhale, warrior three, hinging from the hips, sending that foot straight out behind you. Whoop, there's the table. Warrior three. Again, stay here, big breaths in and out. And rise back up on a breath in, knee high, arms overhead. Exhale, release, shake it out. All right, we're going to take a little break here in between sides. Feet hip width distance apart, hands resting on the upper legs. Just close your eyes and send your awareness to your legs here. Doing three balancing poses at one time really puts a lot of energy into that one standing leg. So see how your standing leg is feeling, having held up your whole body. And compare it to how the other leg feels, the other leg that was doing all the moving around. You can rock back and forth really gently here. Notice how your legs very quickly come back into equilibrium. They felt so different right after we finished our poses, and then very quickly they start to feel pretty similar again. And feel your breath coming back down to a nice, slow, deep breath. And let's blink our eyes open and try the other side. I'm going to turn this way so I don't accidentally kick the table again. All weight coming to the other leg, tree pose, this knee pointing straight out to the side. Three options, toes on the ground, sole of the foot on the ankle, heel under the knee, or all the way up on the thigh. And then including the arms, maybe taking two completely different options than you did on the other side. That's totally okay. Just listening to your body. One more big breath in here. Exhale, hands come to heart center, release the ankle over the knee, bend the standing leg, and sit low in your chair. Take a deep breath here, in and out. On your inhale, rising up, knee comes up, arms overhead. Exhale, warrior three, hinging from the hips, sending the foot straight out behind you and bringing the arms out wide, like airplane wings. Stay here, deep breaths in and out. And come back up on a breath in, knee high, arms overhead. Exhale, shake it all out. Another standing pause, hands on the upper legs, closing the eyes. No need to be still here. You can find some movement, just really gently rocking side to side or back and forth. And sending all of your awareness into your legs. There's nothing specific we're looking for in our legs. We're just noticing how the two legs feel different from each other. See if you can pinpoint which spots on your legs you feel the most differences in, maybe down towards the lower leg, maybe somewhere in your foot or your thigh, wherever it is. Just notice where it is that you're feeling those sensations. Increasing your body awareness, knowledge of what's happening inside. Feel how the legs are quickly coming back into balance. And blink your eyes open Make our way into ragdoll here. Feet come hip width distance apart. Breathing in to bring the hands up. Exhale into a fold. Bend your knees, relax your upper body down. This time we're going to grab our elbows, crossing our arms, grabbing elbows with opposite hands, and gently rocking side to side if it feels good. Just bend one knee at a time. You can find a little swaying motion here. Feel how gravity is helping your spine realign, pulling all the kinks out of the spine here. Releasing the fingertips down to the ground. Weight comes to the fingers. Heel to the feet, bringing them back together. Bend the knees. Inhale to standing, letting your arms dangle down. Unrolling your spine. Exhale, mountain pose. All right, let's make our way all the way back down to the mat. Do a little cool down here and then a little meditation. And then we'll be done. Coming into a staff pose, sending the legs out long in front of you. And then we'll plant our hands on either side of our hips. And if it feels good, you can rock side to side and tuck your thumbs underneath you just a little bit. And then take a deep breath in, sitting up really tall, stretching your spine up. You can push down through the curve in the bottom of the hands if that feels nice. Imagine that you're making a right angle here with your spine and your legs. And then keeping everything else just where it is. Release just the hands. On a breath in, floating the hands up overhead. Exhale, folding forward. Don't worry about how far you go down. This is a pretty intense back body stretch, so just find your own edge. You can release your hands to the mat, hold outside the feet, wherever they feel good, and round out your back. Letting your head and neck relax down. This is a full back body stretch, all the way from the heels to the top of your neck, so you might feel it anywhere in that whole stretch. On your next inhale, walking the hands back, lifting up the chest, bring the hands behind you, fingers pointing towards the hips. And then we're going to pop our knees up towards the sky, plant the feet on the mat, putting some space between the feet. Lean back on your hands and gently rock your knees side to side. Let's come all the way down to our backs. Making our way into a cannonball, drawing your knees into your chest, wrapping both arms around your legs. Take a deep breath in here. Exhale, lifting your forehead up to your knees, curling tight into a ball, squeezing everything together. Release your head back down to the mat, letting your legs come down. Stretch your legs out long and bring your hands up overhead. Take a big good morning stretch here, taking a big breath in, stretching as long as you can. And on your next breath out, come back into cannonball, drawing the knees to the chest, wrapping the arms around the legs, lifting your forehead up to your knees and squeezing everything tight together. One more time, just like that. Inhale, big long stretch as long as you can. Exhale, coming back into a ball. Make use of all that extra space you're making by clearing out your lungs. And then release, letting your head come back to the mat. Bring your hands to your kneecaps and do some circles here. So you can move your knees in the same direction as each other. Or if it feels better, you can move your knees in two opposite directions. There's no right or wrong. And then let's find circles going the other way. To me, it almost feels like a massage on my lower back here. And release, bringing your arms out wide in a T. If you don't have enough space to have the arms stretched all the way out, you can also goal post the arms bending at the elbows. And we're going to float our legs in a tabletop, 90-degree angle on the knees and the hips. Take a big breath in here. On the exhale, dropping the knees down to one side. Try to keep that 90-degree angle on the knees and hips, but it's okay if it's not perfect. Just as close as you can come. This hand on the same side of the legs can tuck in the crease of the top knee. And then if it feels okay on your head, you can turn your head the other way to complete your twist. Bringing awareness into your spine. Notice where you're feeling this twist in your spine. Maybe more towards the top or bottom of the spine. Maybe you feel it more on one side or the other. Make a note of where you're feeling this twist, and then we'll do the other side and compare and see if we feel it in a different spot there. Let's release and try the other side. Hand come back out to the side. Inhale, lifting the knees up to center. And on your next breath out, dropping the legs down to the other side, all the way to the ground. Fingertips on this side can tuck in the crease of the top knee. And if it feels okay on your neck, turning your head, bringing the gaze over to the opposite hand. Bringing awareness into your spine. Do a little comparison. Where do you feel this twist on this side? Top or bottom of the spine? More on the right or left? There's no right or wrong. We're just noticing where it is that these poses are hitting our bodies. Where the pose is landing. Release your hand back out to the side. Inhale, knees come up to center. Exhale, letting your legs come all the way down to the mat. Making your way to Shavasana, our final resting posture. So we're going to meditate now. This meditation is traditionally done on the back, but if for some reason laying flat on your back like this does not feel comfortable to you, you can always choose to meditate in a seat or on your belly or on your side. Really, the most important part is to find the most comfortable position you can. Closing your eyes, relaxing into your mat. You guys can stay where you are. I'm going to come back up to a seat so you can hear my voice a little bit better. And I'll read you our meditation. Notice where you are connected to the surface below you. Maybe you feel the back of your head, your arms, or spots along the spine. Perhaps you feel the backs of your legs or your heels resting on the mat. See if you can soften into those connection spots just a little bit more. Take a scan of your body from the top of your head all the way down to your toes. Notice if there is any place inside of your body where you might be holding some tension, and invite that tension to melt away with your next exhale. Take your time, scanning all the way from your head, through your shoulders, down to your fingertips, your lungs, your ribs, and belly, moving down through the hips, letting your legs relax, all the way down through your heels and toes, inviting any tension to melt away with each exhale. We're just going to have a couple moments here of silent meditation, and then we'll do a couple last poses together to complete our flow. Gently bring your awareness back to your breath. Take some deeper inhales and exhales, bringing some movement into your fingers and toes. You can roll your wrists and ankles, rock your head side to side. If you like, you can take a big stretch with your hands up overhead. And then as you feel ready, start to make your way back up to a comfortable seat. We'll just do a couple last poses here to shake our yoga fog. Making our way into a comfortable seated position. Stretching forward, we're going to rest our fingers on the ground in front of us. Take a big breath in and sit up tall. And on the exhale, stretching the fingers forward, folding over the feet only as far as you feel comfortable, relaxing your head and neck down and rounding out through the back. On your next inhale, rising back up to a seat. Making our way into a twist, one hand behind, other hand resting on the ground in front of you or crossing over the opposite knee. Release, coming back to center and switching sides. Other hand comes behind, same choices here. Hand in front or crossing over the opposite knee. Release, coming back to center. Thank you all so much for coming to yoga with me today.